I'm Wendy, and I was diagnosed with multiple forms of breast cancer in both breasts in July 2022, right before I turned 45 years old. No one's prepared to get that news. It's not part of the journey that anyone sets out in life. So I'm in pretty good health, and I've always been able to exercise or eat to reverse things that were going wrong with my body. So getting this diagnosis made me feel a complete lack of control over my own body, my own health, my future. I did not have any reconstruction or prior issues before coming to SWBA. One of the ways that I tried to regain some of my control during this process was to research and talk to as many different people as I could. So while I gathered my care team, I saw at least 1 to 3 people for each piece of my needs. And I was at a breast surgeon's office the first time that the word mastectomy came up. And I felt pretty sick upon hearing that word, and definitely needed some cocktails with my mom and my bestie after that diagnosis. And I do think that I went into a little bit of shock. So I never went back to that particular doctor's office. But I did find out that day, one of my biggest fears in being told I needed a mastectomy was that I have a ton of allergies. I am very intolerant. I knew that I'm not a candidate for implants. And so I was terrified about what that meant for me if, my option had to be surgical. So I found out that there was such a thing as using my own body to reconstruct, which I kind of felt was like a sci-fi movie. I had never heard of such a thing. I didn't know it was possible, that it could be real. So I began researching it and found out it was called the DIEP flap. And I went to one surgeon and got a consult, and it was a good experience. I left feeling lucky that I was a candidate for this procedure, that this was an option for me, that I could be successful with a reconstruction without implants. And so that had no negative feeling, but just like with every other piece of this, to try and hold on to some of my power, I wanted to talk to someone else too. And multiple people had recommended SWBA to me, several of the doctors I'd seen, and also a physical therapist that specializes in breast cancer healing, and I trusted her opinion a lot. So I came to SWBA, and instantly with my surgeon, I felt something very different. I felt that he was really confident, which you want somebody that's going to do something like this to you to be confident. But in that confidence, he lacked arrogance. There was a humility and an empathy from him that instantly gave me a feeling of peace and hope that I hadn't had until that appointment with him. So in that moment, I knew, that I potentially could get to the end of this journey and still feel beautiful and have options for me. SWBA gave me my power back in a situation where cancer took it away. So when you get diagnosed with cancer, you're in a tunnel and everything is cancer. Conversations are cancer. There's an appointment every day. You're talking with everyone about cancer. And so the little things in life go away. You're looking at people that just stopped and are having a cup of coffee with their friend or playing with their dog at the park, and you desperately want to have those simple moments in life back. And so SWBA was a critical piece for me in getting back to that stage. I'm just now 5 weeks out from my final procedure. A lot of people that go through the DIEP flap procedure will also have a fat graft to finalize the reconstruction. So they take more fat and they place it to make sure that everything turns out as I want and as the surgeons want. And that is what stands out to me. That's why I wanted to talk to others today about my experience with SWBA, is that I went from feeling very powerless and that something had control of me to feeling that I was an important part of my care team. When people didn't agree on what should happen, my voice was allowed to be as loud as others in making those decisions for me. And ultimately, the decisions that we made have made it possible for me to get back to having coffee with friends and having a normal life. So At 5 weeks out from my second follow-up procedure, I'm finally starting to see that my life can get back to feeling normal, and without SWBA being a critical part of that journey, I don't think that I would have gotten to this place the same way. They never made me feel like I was sick with cancer. They made me feel like an empowered, beautiful woman with control over my body.